Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and I'm sitting here sweltering in the polytunnel and thinking about temperature control, and there's a few things that I do it's probably worth talking through. So the first thing is I've got double doors at both ends of the polytunnel and they make a huge difference. Now, you know, on a really hot day like today, I'll have both doors open completely. But even so, it's still going to get to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in this tunnel. And so I've got to do something a little bit more. And what I tend to do is I put a blanket up in the roof, a Mylar blanket. You can just get those off Amazon. They're really cheap. They're about £1 each. And I need 2 blankets for my roof. And I just put them down the centre. And that means that the morning sun streams in here, the evening sun streams in here, but the midday sun is just filtered out that little bit. And it really does make a big difference. It doesn't dramatically reduce the light levels in here because the blanket is just down the centre, but it really reflects out some of the heat that would otherwise land here on this centre path where I'm sitting. So there's not a lot of plants here other than ones in containers. Yeah, that just stops all that heat staying in the polytunnel. So I guess it does result in probably 100 Fahrenheit going down to something like 85 Fahrenheit or something like that, which is a massive difference because over about 90 Fahrenheit, most plants just stop growing. So there's not a lot of point, having a temperature above that. So somewhere between 80 and 90, I think, is kind of the sweet spot. And it also makes it much nicer as a human when you're in here working as well. So when do I open the doors and when do I close the doors? Well, I try and get them open at about 8 o'clock in the morning and get them closed about sort of 7 o'clock or something like that in the evening. So by that time it's not heated up too much in the morning, so that's pretty good, but also it's starting to heat up in here. In the evening, about 7 o'clock, it just allows the polytunnel to sort of close up and capture some of that last bit of sunlight in the evening, and then hold on to that for a few hours later on into the night. In winter, I'll tend to have just one, because everything in here is can cope with cold. It's generally brassicas and salad crops and things like that. Then what I'm really doing is leaving one door open, maybe that much or something like that at night or down to that, having the other door closed, so the side where the wind's coming tends to be closed and the other end tends to be open. If it's going to be really sunny in winter, then I'll crack one door open, the wind side open a little bit, so there's a nice breeze blowing through the centre gap, about something like that. And then leave the other one open. So that's what I'm doing for temperature control, and I'm wondering what everybody else is doing. What sort of temperature you try and maintain? Do you even just let everything go? But certainly one of the things about the Mylar blankets that I should have mentioned is they're really quick and easy to take up and down. Literally it's a 2-minute job, and so I will tend to do that quite frequently, maybe even as much as twice a week, depending on the weather forecast. I might manipulate the temperature in here a little bit, because literally it is just a 2-minute job. And of course they just fold up and store away, so they're not getting in the way anywhere. And I always have them clipped up, just little clips in the roof, and it works really well for me, I've got to say. Since I switched to working this way, the polytunnel has been a much nicer environment. Now, for the peppers, what I found is that they actually like the heat in here, but too much direct sun is a little bit too much for them at certain times of year. And that's why I actually leave these trestle tables in. I could, in theory, take them out, and it's possible that if the peppers grow too big, then I might take them out. But I normally just pinch the tops out of the peppers if they get too big. And the reason I'm leaving them in is just because they provide that little bit of shade, probably nowhere near 50% because there's still a lot of light coming in from the sides, but perhaps 20-30% shade or something like that, and they seem to do a lot better under the trestle table than they do on this side of the polytunnel, where they're where they're getting full sun. So anyway, that's my hints and tips, such as they are, for temperature control in your polytunnel. And my name's Steve. This is the Seaside Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.